As the movie begins, we see a couple, John and Alice, who just woke up and discuss their bad financial condition. John leaves for work on his bike, and we learn he works as a telemarketer. John was struggling to perform in his job as well, and his boss complains about his productivity and punctuality. Meanwhile, Alice attends an interview, but gets rejected as many applicants are more qualified than her. That evening, their schoolmate and landlord, Arnie, shows up to collect the rent. She gives him a check but informs him he can only cash it after 3 days. Arnie mocks her for their financial condition, as everyone in school thought she would likely be the most successful person. Later, Alice was disappointed to learn their bank balance would be negative if Arnie cashes out their check. That night, they go to their high school friend's party, where no one talks to them except their one good friend. Later, they drink a lot and dance. The following day, they learn they have nothing to cook. So, they head to the store to get some groceries and get hit by a truck on the way. Luckily, they were not hurt, and soon the police arrived at the scene. While John explains to them what happened, Alice notices a mysterious antique shop owned by an old woman, and sees her carrying a teapot. Alice feels something strange about that teapot and decides to go shopping. She enters the store and is spotted by the old woman, who welcomes her. However, when the old lady leaves to pick up the phone, Alice uses that opportunity to steal the teapot, and immediately leaves the shop. The next day, while Alice is preparing for her following interview, she accidentally burns her head with a curling iron. At the same time, she notices a movement in the teapot and opens the lid to find some money in it. Seeing this, she again hurts herself with the curler, to find some money in the teapot. Alice finally learns that the brass teapot can generate money whenever its owner feels pain. Alice begins to hurt herself more as the brass teapot provides more money. Meanwhile, John is called by his boss, who expresses his disappointment over John's poor performance in sales and eventually fires him. He comes home disappointed and sees the whole house ruined. He also finds Alice hurt and unconscious on the bed. John doesn't understand how the house is like this and why Alice is injured. Alice wakes up laughing and tells him she is fine. When she comes to her senses, John tells her he got fired. Alice doesn't say anything and gives him the teapot. She then slaps him, and shows him the money teapot is providing. Alice explains to him the teapot gives money when they hurt themselves. John doesn't believe her, so she hits him again, and the money comes from the teapot immediately after. John didn't like to get hurt for the money, as he thinks it's not a paycheck or a job. But Alice believes it's a gift from God, as they can earn as much money as they want. John thinks it could end badly for them, while Alice believes it's their chance to change their lives, and they can make so much money so they will never have to work again. The next morning, Alice wakes up to find the teapot missing and also finds John's note. John arrives at the antique store to return the teapot to the old lady, but finds the store is permanently closed. So he decides to sell the brass teapot in the antique roadshow and appears on TV. However, Dr. Ling saw it on TV and was amazed, as if he knew a lot about it. John returns home, and Alice agrees to sell it only after making $1 million. So they start hurting themselves in different ways, like getting a tattoo and a tooth removed in an old way. They hide all the money in the washroom. The next day, they visit Alice's family for lunch, where John brings chicken knowing that Alice's family is vegan. The situation gets tense because of Alice and John's strange behavior. Alice's mom wonders how he manages the debt by working as a telemarketer. John tells her that his early investments paid off. Back at their house, Alice tells him all their debts have been cleared. Suddenly, a strange-looking twin knocks on the door and starts beating John. They asked for the teapot, as they knew John had it when he appeared on the TV. One of them says that the teapot is their precious heirloom, and their grandmother risked her life to save it from a Holocaust, and before she died, she told them that that teapot was missing. As they keep beating John, Alice tells them they sold the teapot. So they ask for the money that has come out of the teapot. So Alice gives them some money, and the brothers leave from there. John decides to know the truth about that teapot, so they go to a library and learn it is from the 2nd century and has some explicable powers. The hazards of using this teapot is also written on a page. Alice secretly rips it and puts it in her bag. As John starts reading about the damage caused by that teapot but sees that the page is missing and thinks someone has torn it. Alice tells him not to worry about it, as they change their lives for good using that teapot. Soon the couple buys an expensive car, and a wonderful and luxurious house. Now they have everything they want. They host a party at home, where Alice becomes arrogant, ignores her close friend, and instead befriends a rich girl. John's behavior does not change in comparison to her and remains the same with his friend as he was before. As the party was going on, Dr. Ling showed up asking for the teapot. John tells him they sold it to the museum, but Dr. Ling tells them their lives are in danger because of that teapot. John thinks he should listen to Dr. Ling, but Alice thinks they will lose everything, and she tells Dr. Ling that they don't want to talk about it. At night, they talk about how the teapot has changed our lives, and they don't have to worry about money as long as they have the teapot. Meanwhile, Arnie hears their conversation from the outside. He immediately comes inside the house and says he knows how they got so rich. Arnie snatches the teapot from Alice and runs away from there. He then throws it away, and runs his car on it. Alice immediately retrieves the teapot, and is surprised to learn there is not even a single scratch on it, and they wonder how is that possible. They finally meet Dr. Ling to know the reason. Dr. Ling tells them that this teapot is 2,000 years old and has been with the best and worst persons in the world, but no one has seen it since it disappeared from a Nazi concentration camp in 1945. Dr. Ling tells them the teapot can cause great harm in the wrong hands. He says if there is any evil in their mind, the teapot will spread that evil more. Dr. Ling suggests they hand over that teapot so that he will get rid of it, as it cannot be destroyed, and they can get back to their lives like nothing happened. But they leave as Alice doesn't want to give up on the teapot, even though John wants to get rid of it. One night the twin brothers come to their house to steal the money. After hearing the sound, they come out and the brothers see the teapot in Alice's hand, and the brothers know they had the teapot the whole time and claims they were only taking their rightful inheritance. The brothers were aware of the teapot's powers and dangers, so they didn't want to take it. They even warn Alice and John to get rid of it before it gets too late. As they were leaving, Alice attacked them with that teapot and tried to snatch their earned money from them. Now the two brothers attack Alice and John and knocks them out. When they return to their senses in the morning, they notice the brothers have taken all their money, and now that teapot has also started giving less money than before. Because of it, they understand that they have to hurt themselves more to earn more money. So that evening, they go to a bar where John deliberately starts bothering a goon, who beats him a lot and injures him badly. The next day when Dr. Ling meets John, he says while looking at his condition, Dr. Ling realizes things are getting worse as the teapot is consuming them and warns that the object will destroy their life. One day, Alice comes to know that if anyone gets hurt around the teapot, it can still give them money. Now they like this new way of earning money, so they go to the places like boxing matches, tattoo shops, and a hospital where a woman gives birth to a baby. They soon start to make more money than before and store it in a safe. However, Alice still craves more money and gets uncontrollable. She even tries to kill a man before John manages to steer the car away to avoid the collision. John realizes things are getting out of control, they argue, and Alice belittles John. Finally, she gets out of the car and finds the teapot is providing them with money. Alice learns the teapot is giving money by saying ill things to each other. She tries again by saying something that hurts John, and the teapot provides the money. The following day, they reveal each other's secrets, and they keep getting the money. Alice then says that she once let Arnie go down on her before marriage. John becomes furious hearing this, and goes to Arnie's house to kill him, only to get beaten up by him. Arnie also notices the money in the brass teapot and gets suspicious. Later, they stop by the rich girl's house and reveal to her husband that his wife had killed his dog. After that, John heads to his office and tells his ex-boss's wife that her husband is having an affair. All these things make them a lot of money. Later, they even try to destroy Alice's sister's marriage by revealing her affair, but Alice changes her mind at the last moment. She apologizes to her sister for what she said, and they reconcile. However, Alice still wants to make more money and plans to kill a pedophile or a drug dealer so that no one would care, and they will earn a massive amount from the teapot. They dig a grave for their potential victim, and John gradually realizes that Alice is turning evil and says Dr. Ling was right. When John asks her to choose between him and the teapot, she doesn't respond and continues digging. He visits Dr. Ling and asks for his help. John asks Mr. Ling to steal it from their house, but Mr. Ling says it doesn't work that way, and they have to give it to him voluntarily. John finds the missing page that Alice tore from the book. John threatens to kill himself if she doesn't end it. Alice finally agrees to give it to Dr. Ling. But when he notices that the teapot is pulling her again, he jumps out of the window with the teapot. It provided a lot of money, and now John was unconscious. Alice starts crying seeing this and realizes her mistake of not listening to her husband. After a moment, he returns to his senses, and Alice decides to leave the teapot. Later that night, Arnie breaks in and steals the teapot. John gets worried as they have to deliver the teapot to Dr. Ling themselves. They went to Arnie's house to find him soaked in blood. Arnie threatens them with a gun, before John fights back and demands to return the teapot. Suddenly Arnie's wife comes out with a gun threatening them, and they both make Alice and John kneel, and when they are about to shoot, the twin brothers barge in and point their guns at Arnie and his wife, and the shootout ensues. John and Alice crawl to safety, while they shoot each other. The teapot generates a lot of money because of that shootout. Alice and John come out to find everyone is killed and a lot of money is scattered. After collecting the money and teapot, they leave the house and hand over the teapot to Dr. Ling, who is waiting outside. The couple finally got rid of the teapot and sent some money to their poor friends before leaving the city in their old car. The doctor also throws that teapot into the sea so none can get it again. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.